Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Tuesday morning. How you doing today? It's Dave, Double Pop. How are things going today? We're back with you again on your Tuesday morning, looking to make the morning go by smoother so that before you know it, it's the afternoon and the end of the day and you're back home with your loved ones after listening to a whole morning of New Mercy Mornings and then smooth music all afternoon on DWZ, right? That's the way everybody's day should go. So, you know how it works. I burst in throughout the morning, every once in a while, come in and knock down a song real quick and talk to you about something good or something funny or crazy or about the Lord, and maybe we can enlighten each other, and then I send you back to the music, and that's how the day goes. So stay around. I'll be here throughout the morning. Don't go away. Listen to something good, and we will be here shortly. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Tuesday morning. Double Pop, Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings on your Tuesday morning, 10 minutes to the hour. Scripture verse of the morning, because, Jesus, that's what we're all about around here. Matthew 24, verse 35, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Essentially, Jesus is telling us everything is temporary. Everything is temporary but his word, okay? But the words of God, the words that he is instructed to tell us, they are all what will last forever. But everything else is temporary. We will say goodbye to it all. We will say goodbye to things in front of us that we're not ready to say goodbye to. The hard part about, we get to, you turn the half century mark and your thoughts start getting a little crazier. Add 10 more years to that, and they really start to, you start to think about these things, and even more so, things you didn't think about 30 years ago. It's difficult. I mean, you look at your spouse, and you say, there's a day coming, and you don't know what side of that day you're going to be on. Okay, but the two of you are going to have to say goodbye. And, there's a hard part about, the life we have with each other is that, you grow closer to somebody and you made a life with them and everything, and you have a home and a family and all that, and you realize this is all going to go away. The beauty of it all is that, in the Lord knowing that, he's saying, don't worry though. Okay, it's all right. I'm going to be here though, and I'm going to comfort you through it all. Do you love me? And you're like, of course I love you, Jesus. And, he's like, all right, well then abide in me, and I'm going to make it okay. This is all going to go away, but I'm here. My word's here, and it's not going anyplace. And everything I told you, everything I promised you is gonna come to be. And you won't have to be afraid of anything else at that point. And you don't have to be afraid of anything now. Yes, we're gonna reach a very sad and somber period of our lives where, and you've already probably approached it with a lot of things. You're saying goodbye to people you never thought you'd say goodbye to, but you knew you'd have to someday. Yeah, and I said that weird, but it's like, you don't think about it, okay? But in the back of your mind, let's just say, you knew you'd have to say goodbye to something, to someone, to any situation. Because nothing here, you've watched things be temporary. Look at, some of us who have grown up with, my father said something years ago to me that resonates with me now. And he told me one time, I said, isn't it weird? I says, when you start to see your, favorite sports players retire from the game, right? And he says, wait till they start dying. And I didn't think about that. And, yet he he had, had that point where, he had grew up idolizing, athletes and whatever. We all did. And he said, there's nothing like, when they go, because then you really start to feel like, the temporary, situation. People who were these grand figures of your life, big, strong characters. The Lord's going to have their day with them. Okay? People who you thought were invincible aren't invincible anymore. Old Timers Day is coming to Yankee Stadium in about 2 weeks. And every year on Old Timers Day, it's kind of like, this is really starting to make me feel old, because I saw every guy in Old Timers Day every year play. Live. I've seen every single one of them play. And I'm like, now they're out on the field for Old Timers Day. And that just puts it all into perspective for you. Is that, they know their time is coming. They're getting all one, this annual hurrah. Okay, but people like me who looked up to these people and everything, and still do, that I look at them and remember and admire how they were. I think about it sometimes. I try not to, but I think about it sometimes and say, they're not going to be here 1 year, and maybe it'll be me who's first. Who knows? But it's that verse really hits home when you remember to look around you today and remember to appreciate what you have, because it's temporary, but also to appreciate you got your Lord who will be here with you forever and ever, and he's not letting you go, and he's going to give you beautiful things to see and do when the time comes. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings. Hope you enjoyed the verse today. It's Tuesday. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Tuesday morning, 20 minutes to the hour. So I was fascinated, okay? I was absolutely fascinated at some of the stuff with the 4th of July celebrations. My wife kept popping all these videos at me of things all these amazing fireworks displays, of the stuff that was coming out when it was, through fireworks. Just fantastic things, fireworks, it's crazy. Fireworks are crazy, okay? Fireworks were an underground syndicate when we were younger, okay? You had to know somebody who knew somebody who might know somebody who could get you some fireworks when you were younger, okay? It was sneaky. It was underground. There was a meeting somewhere, there was, basically the avoidance of the law, okay, to get your fireworks if you had them. And then if you shot them off, you had to watch all around you to make sure that the authorities were not around to, make some trouble for you, and make your holiday a little more difficult than before. Now, okay, first of all, fireworks are available right next to the bagels at Stop and Shop, okay? There's a big, display of them every which way to Sunday, okay? You can get all different kinds. And yeah, isn't it great to know that your M80s are next to the bakery section in the store? Good situation, right? And they're the oven's not that far away from it, by the way. And but now fireworks are everywhere. You can get fireworks from you don't have to even know anybody. You can just go to the store. I used to have a guy who used to make one of my braces in a state where they were more legal than they were in Connecticut. Used to throw them in a box with one of the braces to get them down here to us. Always an interesting situation every year. He waited with bated breath to make sure he didn't get taken in by the law. But to get back to the original point of this, okay, because I tend to wander. What beautiful things they had. They're shooting off fireworks, and the next thing you know, there's a big American flag formed in the fireworks, right? There's big 250s and Eagles, and and then the best one of all had to be when they blew up these bunch of fireworks, and before you know it, there were pictures of the founding fathers. Fascinating. Right? Who would have, I mean, before, to see the founding fathers, you actually had to get blown up. Okay. now you can watch the founding fathers like up in the air after they blow the things up. When you were a kid, if you wanted to see the founding fathers, you had to actually hold on to the fireworks, because you'd meet them real quick. But yeah, that was really, really tremendous stuff. Every which way. Kind of puts your local fireworks to shame. I mean, when we go to Niagara Falls every year, we laugh because they have fireworks every night, and they advertise it and they display it and they make a big to-do over it. Fireworks display tonight over the falls, okay? Every night from Victoria Day to November. And it's 4 minutes of your day you'll never get back, okay? We had over here, we could watch the ones from our driveway. Yeah, they're all right. But when you turned on all these videos my wife was giving me, it was like, oh my goodness, where can we go and see things like that? It was just amazing things. It was one of the more fascinating things that came out of the 4th of July celebrations. Really good looking stuff. Hope you got to see some of it. If not, there's videos every which way to Sunday. Go pull up some videos, and maybe I'll post one or two of them on the Facebook group page that my wife sent me. Maybe I'll post the Founding Fathers one if I can find it, or if she has it saved, she can get it over to me, and I'll get it on there for you. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, Tuesday morning. Hope it's going well. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, 20 past the hour. So, it had been a while. Since I had put out a song under the Double Pop name. I had been writing some songs for a couple other people, and but I wrote a rather personal song, for under my name, and it's called Rest in Jesus, and it's out now. It's playing on the station. It's available on Spotify and all your favorite locations, but yeah, it had been a while since I had put out anything with my name, and you know what? That's fine. I mean, I'm really, I'm happy, writing songs for others and doing what I'm doing, here. But I really wanted to, every once in a while, you get one out that you really want to keep for yourself, and Rest in Jesus is definitely that one. To me, it was very personal. It's the life of the Christian that's gone through life rather insecure in their faith, believing that the Lord will turn on you at any given moment. And I've discussed my feelings on this. I've struggled with that through the years and through my life as a follower, where I kind of have always thought that I grew, you grow up thinking that your life is that you could be turned on at any given moment, and you sort of believe that God will do the same thing, and it's hard. I mean, we try to serve as well as anybody else, and we're but it's hard for us to pray. It's hard for us to grow that intimacy that Jesus wants in his relationship with you. And it's been a struggle all through my life as a believer, and probably plays into how my walk with God has been. Everybody's is very different, and that includes my own. I mean, it's been what it's been, and yet I continue to develop that intimate relationship with Jesus. But the song essentially speaks to, an encouraging reminder that you can rest in Jesus. You don't have to be afraid. Everything's all set. He died for your sins. You're not excluded from the pack. Okay, you'll be a part of it all. And every once in a while you need a little rally call to yourself. And so rest in Jesus was very much that. And I gave myself a good pep talk with it. And I had seen, an article, I think I had talked about it on the show a couple of weeks back, about, the people who rested rather insecurely in their faith. And when somebody had said in that passage, that there's a fear of resting in Jesus. Well, right away that screamed to me. And you know what? It's been exciting that once I've been kind of rolling that around in my head for a while, and then finally I was able to put it all together and was really excited. Now I'm running around the house going, rest in Jesus, and just, delighted to, hear myself encourage that, to myself and to others. And if it speaks to somebody else, if it encourages somebody else I know I'm not alone, because that article, had about 1,000 good responses. And, it was very exciting to see other people, not exciting, but it was comforting to know that other people had a similar situation. So, praise God, the song is out. It's in all the platforms, and it's on the Double Pop Worship Zone. So rest in Jesus. Okay, shout it along with me when you hear it on the station, or if you decided to download it or play it anywhere else. Okay, Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, about 25, 26 after, somewhere around there. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, 15 minutes past the hour. Some July 7th mega moments, okay? In 1898, President William McKinley signed the Newlands Resolution, officially annexing the Republic of Hawaii into the United States. So our growth with Hawaii headed towards statehood, which didn't happen for 62 years after that, began pretty much on that day. And the best thing since sliced bread, right? 1928, sliced bread was sold for the first time in Missouri, okay? I don't know, Chillicothe Baking Company in Chillicothe, Missouri, sold sliced bread for the first time. And you always wondered when sliced bread got started. Well, today is the greatest day because it was sliced bread officially sold. Also, 1981, President Reagan nominated Sandra Day O'Connor to be the first woman to the Supreme Court. Wonderful moment. Everybody was very excited to finally have a female justice headed for the High Court. So it was a big day, and the great President Reagan was the one who pushed it forth. And bless his heart, he was a man of vision for sure. And so you had those three really important moments on July 7th, total mega moments, right? I mean, Hawaii, started its road towards, well, it was a rather long road towards statehood. Sliced bread and Sandra Day O'Connor, what firsts, right? What moments? Double Pop Worship Zone, mega moments from July 7th. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings, 15 after the hour on your Tuesday. So 7 major league umpires are being offered retirement from the position. as a major league umpire, senior umpires that are moving towards the door, and as computer umpiring has become a thing with the balls and strikes this year, kind of putting the checks and balances on baseball umpires, it kind of seems that these older umpires who are ranking much lower in the umpire rankings these days, these older umpires, are being let, not let go, or they are being retired, bought out of their contracts, and they won't be back as major league umpires. And it kind of makes you wonder, okay, that I personally am as a baseball fan, I'm kind of glad that I'm not saying I'm happy people are losing their jobs, because it is a hard thing to be a sports official. I was a soccer referee for many, many years in some pretty high profile places, and yeah, I know how difficult it can be. So I'm not taking anything away from what they've done or how they've done it. I mean, it's a hard job, and the people who are being offered the retirement, I've probably have shouted a few words at them through the years at the screen, but essentially, with the introduction of the computerized challenge system for the umpires, I've observed in watching games that there's a lot of umpires that seem willing to adapt to how a game is called, and a lot of umpires, okay, especially the ones who have been around through the years, kind of had this little expression that they used to throw out in interviews to people. It said my strike zone, okay, which led people to believe that they had an individualized strike zone that they were allowed to call, which they were for many years, and yet the rules define a strike zone, okay, and it's rather clear, but these umpires in themselves sort of adopted the strike zone and tailored it for their own vision of the game. And it seems like these are many of the umpires who are being shown to retirement and bought out of their contracts. But it leads me to believe, like, a couple of things, that there's a thought process that maybe older people can't be taught anything. Okay, that people who are advanced, like if you're advanced in your career, like me. I'm very long into my career. Does somebody believe I can't learn a new way of doing things? That if things were to change, if the system were to change, would I not be able to adapt? Would I not be able to learn it? I want to believe. I want to believe in better. For our people who are up there, how do you become a saved believer? How do you become a good follower of Christ when you've been spending all these years thinking things your own way, and then suddenly now all of a sudden you have accepted and found Jesus, and you are now you've confessed your sins, and you are repenting and following the Lord. Are you able to do that at this point of your life? Will you be able to, you don't have to change your ways, but, do you have to change your heart towards a lot of things? How can you do that? There's people who think they can't do that. And I know, as somebody who is up there a little bit, I want to believe, that people who've been around can change, okay? But, what do you think? I'm curious as to the thought process of how people arrive at that point. I know there's a lot of people who are going to say that these umpires were too, stubborn to change or whatever, and that the first half of the season has shown an unwillingness to change towards getting things right, or an inability. I don't know. I can't speak for others on that, but I find it interesting. As much as I was probably not happy with some of these umpires through the years, should there not have been a longer opportunity to be able to to turn things around? It's hard to say, but I can't, like I said, I can't speak for others. Would love to know your opinion on these things. You can put it on the Facebook group page, and I'd be glad to hear it. Double Pop Worship Zone 20 past. Double Pop Worship Zone, New Mercy Mornings. That's going to do it for Tuesday. It's 10 minutes to the hour. This afternoon, right afternoon time, you can pick up on anything New Mercy Mornings. If you missed it this morning, you can watch the video, listen to the audio section on the Facebook group page, or go to our YouTube site and listen to it there. Or you can wait for 8 p.m. tonight and hear it right here on Double Pop Worship Zone. Also, do not forget, Night Flight tonight, 10:30 p.m. Don't miss that. Reflect, rest, pray, and fall asleep with your friends here at Double Pop Worship Zone. Wake up all refreshed and ready to go for another day tomorrow. So until then, tomorrow, we will see you for Midweek Wednesday. I'm Dave, Double Pop, praying that Jesus leaves the light on for you, and I wish you nothing but peace.